I want to achieve the same thing with respect to labeling children with the religion of their parents. There's no such thing as a Catholic child. There's no such thing as a Protestant child. No such thing as a Muslim child. I did, on one day last week, I did a little sort of hour's research on the use of phrases. All those phrases there, Jewish child, Christian child, etc., Israeli child, Irish child, conservative child. What you can see is that religious labels of children are extremely frequently referred to. I just Googled the phrase Jewish child, Christian child, Muslim child, etc. And those are the figures on that particular one day. It will be different today, of course, but I mean it'll be roughly the same. I don't know why the phrase Jewish child is the most common, but all those religious ones are commoner than. I didn't do all. I chose 3 countries which I thought were representative of the religions that were up there for a sort of comparison. So Israeli child, Irish child, Iranian child as representing 3 of those religions. Conservative child, Republican child, atheist child, liberal child, and down to agnostic child, essentially negligible. We just don't talk about things like an agnostic child, or a liberal child, or a Democrat child. And if we did that, you'd think we were mad. I mean, if I said that's a Democrat child, or that's a Marxist child, or that's a postmodernist child, you'd think I was mad. But everybody accepts Catholic child or Protestant child. Let's replace labels like that with inquisitive child, educated child, healthy child, happy child, etc. So when you hear someone labeling a child with a religion that the child is too young to have adopted for herself, say something, get angry. It is, after all, a form of child abuse. This is John Reid, who was the British Education Minister and then became the Home Secretary. And he has very recently said, he's predicted, that more Catholic schools are needed due to the influx of East European migrants. An estimated 20,000 Polish children need schools for their faith. They need schools for their faith. It is assumed, John Reid is simply assuming that because these are Polish children with Catholic parents, they therefore need Catholic schools. What about asking them? Many of you will have seen this pair of slides before. It makes the point to lay people who haven't yet got the point. It's a photograph taken from The Independent, the British newspaper, at Christmas time a few years ago. And it was a nice, heartwarming, ecumenical story about the nativity play that a primary school for 4-year-olds had put on. And the caption to the photograph said, Shadbreet, a Sikh, Musharraf, a Muslim, and Adele, a Christian, all aged 4. And all I've done now is change the caption. Shadbreet, a monetarist, Musharraf, a Keynesian, and Adele, a Marxist, all aged 4. Now, that's consciousness raising. When you show a slide like that to an audience of religious people, they get the point. They see it. That's consciousness raising. It's an example of it. I like to think that we may have succeeded in this particular piece of consciousness raising. This is a British comedian called Marcus Brigstock, and this is just a very short routine. The bit that's relevant to the consciousness raising about children comes right at the end of this routine. I think it lasts about 3 minutes. It's quite funny, so I thought I'd play it to you. I hope you can hear it.
Hello. I'd like to start this week with a request, and this one goes out to the followers of the 3 Abrahamic religions, to the Muslims, Christians and Jews. It's just a little thing really, but do you think that when you've finished smashing up the world and blowing each other to bits and demanding special privileges while you do it, do you think that maybe the rest of us could sort of have our planet back? I wouldn't ask, but the thing is, I'm starting to think there must be something written in the special books each of you so enjoy referring to that tells you it's all right to behave like precious, petulant, pugnacious pricks. Forgive the alliteration, but your persistent power-mad punch-ups are pissing me off. It's mainly the extremists, obviously, but not exclusively. It's a lot of mainstreamers as well. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, okay? Muslims. Listen up, my bearded and veily friends. Calm down, okay? Stop blowing stuff up. Not everything that's said about you is an attack on the Prophet Muhammad and Allah that needs to end in the infidel being destroyed. Have a cup of tea, put on a Cat Stevens record, sit down and chill out. I mean, seriously, what's wrong with a strongly worded letter to the Times? Christians, you and your churches don't get to be millionaires while other people have nothing at all. They're your bloody rules. Either stick to them or abandon the faith. And stop persecuting and killing people you judge to be immoral. Oh, and stop pretending you're celibate as a cover-up for being a gay or a nonce. Right, that's 2 ticked off. Jews. I know you're God's chosen people and the rest of us are just whatever, but when Israel behaves like a violent, psychopathic bully and someone mentions it, that doesn't make them anti-Semitic. And for the record, your troubled history is not a license to act with impunity now. So, when the letters come, and I'm guessing they will, I can guarantee that each one of those faiths will be utterly convinced that I've singled them out for special criticism.
Why did it have to be us? Islam is a peaceful faith. I don't see what's wrong with being Christian. We're a peaceful, loving faith.
How dare you, after all we've been through? We Jews know how terrible violence can be.
You see, all of them will be convinced that they're the ones being picked on. The Abrahamic faiths are like Scousers. They're always convinced they're a bit harder than everyone else. Right, and why is it that all of these faiths claim to be peaceful when even the most fleeting glance at a history of warfare will tell you otherwise? The relationship between religion and warfare is very similar to the relationship between ant and deck. You could have one without the other, but I'm not sure anyone would see the point. I wouldn't actually like it, but it would at least be refreshing to hear one of them come out and say,
"Oh, our faith's violent as you like. We'll have a scrap, us lot, we do. Honestly, our special book says fight, fight, kill, maim, fight, smash, destroy, fight, murder, kill, and fight." That's why I signed up, to be honest. I'm a bit naughty, you know what I mean?
But no, all of them claim to be peaceful religions. Yeah, peaceful right up to the point where someone takes something they think is theirs, or says the wrong thing, or looks at them funny, then it's fighty, smashy, kicky, punchy all the way. I know this will upset a lot of people, and frankly, I don't care. I'm getting so sick of religious people screwing it up for the rest of us. Please don't kill us. Seriously. As far as I'm concerned, this is the only chance we get. When we die, it's all over. There's no virgins and pearly gates waiting for us, no big beardy man saying...
Right, so how do you think that went then? Bit mixed? Ooh, killed a lot of people in my name, I see. Yeah, not really what I had in mind, actually. Tell you what, have another go as a worm.
While we're at it, I'm sick of religious people forcing their children to define themselves by their parents' faith. A 4-year-old is no more a Christian than he is a member of the Postal Workers Union.
We want a fair working wage, decent working conditions, and time allotted to see the new Transformers film.
Said a spokesman.
I like to think that that bit at the end wouldn't have gone in if he hadn't read The God Delusion. Well, of course, we don't want to indoctrinate children with atheism. That would be as bad as indoctrinating them with religion. Of course, what we want to do is teach children to think for themselves.